have the high wire. As a member of the 7th generation of the Wallenda family, Nik Wallenda will soon attempt to walk across the Grand Canyon on a wire, the height of the Empire State Building. And get this, he will do it all without a harness. Nik joins us right now to talk about his upcoming feat and his new book. It's called Balance. Nik, thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having me on.
First question, you can see it's a little windy up here where we are on 6th Avenue. Now, that could happen in the Grand Canyon. The wind could blow. How have you been prepping for this?
Well, you know, I train actually in my hometown of Sarasota, Florida, and we've actually set up a cable the same length that I'll be walking over the canyon. However, we've set it up low to the ground, and during that training process, that simulates the movement of the wire itself under my feet. But we also have wind machines come in, actually wind machines in the form of airboats. There's plenty of those in Florida. So we can create winds of up to actually 90 miles an hour with an airboat. However, for training purposes, I go about 55 miles an hour, and we do everything from side winds to updrafts just to simulate worst case that I would feel while I'm on the wire.
So are there any conditions in which you won't walk on the scheduled day? If it starts to rain, do you postpone? And how do you make that call?
Well, actually, I don't even make that call. My father, who's my head safety coordinator, is the one who makes that call. Who better to have as your head safety coordinator than your father? Rain, I train to walk in rain actually. So I've walked in rain many, many times. And part of my training process is walking in rain. Of course, many people saw me walk over Niagara Falls, right, and it might as well have been raining because I was soaking wet as I crossed.
You're on this cable you mentioned now. It's about 2 inches wide, but it is rounded. So what are you wearing on your feet to help you grip that?
Well, actually, wear shoes that my mom makes. They're almost like Indian moccasins, and they lace up the front, and the bottom is an elk skin. And we use elk skin because we found that we can feel the wire through that very easily. However, if it gets wet or if it does happen to rain, they actually become sticky, not slippery.
Your great-grandfather, who is somebody that you say you do a lot of these walks for and you think about him a lot, he died in a high wire walk in Puerto Rico. How do you think he would feel about what you're doing now? If he sort of knew his own fate, do you think he would still encourage you to be in the family business?
Absolutely. You know, we've learned a lot from his fate. I've actually went back with my mother and recreated that walk a few years ago, that exact walk that took his life. But what we've learned is that you shouldn't be walking wire at 73 with an injured collarbone and a double hernia. He went down to the wire like I would. If there was an issue, I would go right down to that wire and hold on until rescue was there. Right. I've got rescue teams standing by that can be to me anywhere on that wire really in about 60 seconds. So we've learned that, you know, there's a time to retire. It's a challenge when you have as much passion for what you do as we do. And of course, your mind always thinks you're still young and you can do it. So I've already set off a cutoff date of 50 years old, and I'm thinking maybe in 45 I'll be done, you know, performing on these long feats.
So anybody, whether it's your children or any of us who are in a different profession, let's say most of us are never gonna do what you do, but fear is something that we all experience in daily life. I know you have a very strong faith and that helps you. I wonder for other people, are there practical ways to control fear in the moment that could apply to any aspect of life?
Absolutely. You know, I have what you might call fear. It's not a debilitating fear. It doesn't, in other words, cause me to shake and lose control. Right. But I call it respect. And when I walk up to the edge of a 10-story building, my heart drops because I go, that's dangerous down there. Again, it all goes back to training and preparing for the worst case. But, you know, a lot of it is just controlling your thoughts. You know, I think a lot of our dreams are given up in our lives because we allow thoughts to come in and say, well, why would you open up your own business? Because think about the insurance and think about the challenges and what about lawsuits? And so we talk ourselves out of fulfilling our dreams. And I think if we can learn to control the thoughts that come into our mind and kick them out before they grow too big, we can accomplish anything in life.
Yeah, I think it's a really good point. We want you to give us a few tips. We're not going to have you up as high as the Empire State Building because I'm wearing heels, but let's walk over here and let's give it a shot.
Let's do it.
My big thing is going to be getting off this without falling, but you're going to help me.
That's right.
Helped by the man with the high wire. So this, we're going to look out here at the distance, which is about, we're going to try and estimate where you're going to be, how far you're going to be going. So there's Radio City Music Hall. So 2 blocks beyond that, which is all the way to the CBS building, that's roughly the distance we've measured out.
That looks about right.
Does that look about right? But of course, you'll be much higher up.
I will be a lot higher up. I'll be about 1,500 feet up. You know, part of my preparation for the Grand Canyon is spending time out there in that area.
Right.
And I'll actually sit on an edge and look at the area that I'm going to and visualize myself making it across and making it to the other side successfully. At every point on the cable,
and that's psychological for you?
It is extremely. I would say what I do is probably much more psychological at this point than it is physical because I've done what I do for so long.
All right, so to put this in perspective, this is only a few inches off the ground, which would be difficult for me, or will be difficult for me probably. Empire State Building right there, that's the height of your wire?
It is. It is actually a little bit taller than the Empire State Building, believe it or not.
We're not trying to estimate exactly what you're going to be doing, but fundamentals, this is what people wonder. This black line is about roughly this 2 inches, which is what you're going to be on it. Where are your eyes? What are you tightening? Like, are you tightening your abs? Where are you looking? Can you sort of demonstrate that for us?
It does take a lot of core strength for sure to do what we do. One of the things with using a balancing pole is you want to keep your body completely straight, and the balancing pole does all of the work.
And this pole, I mean, this is sort of a mock pole here. Tell us about
this is exactly what I use, actually. It's a pool pole.
It's a pool pole. That's amazing. You can get anyone at Home Depot.
Yeah.
So how much does your pole?
Mine weighs about 40 to 45 pounds, and it's about 28 feet long.
Right.
Is what I'll be using for the canyon. But basically, is what it does is it creates your center of gravity to go out to the end. So I have something to work with now. If I start to go one way, I can actually use the pole to bring my body back. And then I focus ahead of me, and again, just place my feet on this wire and make my way across.
All right, before you go, let's see if you can get me in position here.
Sure,
I'm
of course.
Be shrewd and take off the heels.
Sounds good. So what you're going to do is you're going to put this, you're going to hold it a little further out, and you're going to curl your wrist, and now you're going to look to the other end there.
Yep.
Keep your chin up, and there you go. You're just going to put one foot in front of the other. You know, the wire is always in front of you. I kind of tend to slide my feet on the wire and walk like this.
So you can feel it.
The reason why I do that is because that wire is moving underneath my feet, and I know that I'm not going to step to the side of the wire. I'm going to have my foot on the wire.
So I look at you and you start. Did you see that?
That's right.
That's why you don't enjoy the view that much.
That's why I need to be very.
Get a
focused.
postcard instead.
That's right. Or watch the film the next day.
Or watch the film.